Riding through the city with my M's up. Smoke another nigga, ain't no friends, bro. Roll on my clip, want the same thing. Everybody around me on gangbang. Yeah, I want smoke, I'm on the same thing. Yo, it's your boy Florida Man BK, man. We back with another video. I'm finna go ahead and react to this thing. They got this man called the Soup Man. He chopping bodies up, putting bodies inside, like acid, something like that. I don't really know, bro. But we finna go ahead and get into the video. We go ahead and start this screen recording so we get this out the way. 3, 2, 1. Bet, and we finna play it now.
Throughout his decade with 2 cartels, El Pozolero, or the
Another
Soup Man,
cartel
dissolved
video,
up
bro?
to 1,000 bodies in vats of acid. Breaking Bad is nothing compared to real life. When he was finally arrested, a horrible stench filled his room. He told the police officers he was making seafood soup. Yeah, that wasn't seafood soup. So abstain from eating any kind of soup as you watch this outrageous video
like that.
Delve into the story of Santiago Meza, aka El Pozolero. Movies often show the glamorous side of cartels, the money, power, and status that only the top of the pyramid gets to live in. But behind the scenes, few things are as dark, brutal, and downright gruesome as cartels disposing of their enemies' bodies. Santiago Meza Lopez had a modest background. He was a poor farmer's boy and liked animals. In fact, it was his love of animals that brought him to the cartels. That and a desperate need for cash. Santiago started working with the Arellano Felix cartel in 1996. He tended to their horses and did their masonry work. It was honest work that simply paid better compared to anything he could do on his farm. But you know how cartels promise you endless riches for just a little bit of dirty work? That's always the hook. Make a threat or carry out a sketchy drug deal. Within months, you'll be rich. Sadly, Santiago fell into this trap, and before long, he was conducting narcotics deals for Arellano Felix. First, he was their dealer. Then he was their drug office keeper. He was disciplined and dedicated, and Felix encouraged this by promoting him. As he surveilled the depots around Tijuana toward the end of the century, the Arellano cartel started a bloody war with the notorious Sinaloa cartel. Both cartels wanted control over the same trafficking routes into the U.S., but there's nothing simple about cartel fights. Constant attacks, kidnappings, and assassinations were terrorizing Mexico. A staggering 24,000 people lost their lives during just a few short years. But what do you do with all the bodies if you're a cartel boss and you don't want the police on your tail? In a really creepy twist, the thousands of victims opened up a job opportunity for Santiago.
That's crazy, bro.
In the late 1990s, the Arellano Felix brothers, Ramon and Benjamin, invited Santiago to a secluded spot. They asked him to do a little experiment with them. They handed him a leg of beef and asked him to toss the leg into a container. The vat was filled with caustic soda, also known as lye, mixed with water and some other chemicals. They left Santiago with the container and told him to watch over the beef while they took care of other business. A few hours later, Santiago would confirm their experiment worked out the way they had intended it to. The leg of beef was completely dissolved, only coloring the liquid inside to the container a crimson red. It was gross, but it was nothing compared to what was about to happen. 6 months later, the Arellano Felix brothers revealed to Santiago what the experiment was about. He was going to carry out their dirtiest work, dissolve their enemies into vats of lye. The brothers had asked for advice from foreign cartel members about disposing of corpses. They were in over their heads, quite literally, in war victims, and simply dumping them in shady spots wasn't working anymore. The police were on the lookout for any cartel mistake, so they could arrest the Tijuana cartel bosses at the end of the war. Now, Ramon and Benjamin had Santiago dissolve his first human body. Several henchmen were watching. If this worked, this would be their future method for all their enemies. Santiago undressed the body and stuffed it into a large drum filled with the same mixture as before, except this time there were 200 liters of it. The drum's burner was lit up and the mixture started to froth. Santiago left it overnight to cook. When he returned to the vat in the morning, there was no body inside, just a red sludge and some tiny bone fragments decorating the bottom of the container. El Pozolero was born. Before you ask, no, Pozolero doesn't literally mean soup man. It comes from pozole, a traditional Mexican soup made with corn and meat. I know, El Pozolero ruined the dish forever. After El Pozolero notified the Arellano Felix brothers of their successful experiment, they called in their truck driver. He took the container and drove it to a nearby canyon.
I'm confused, bro. So did the nigga take the bodies, human bodies, and put it into actual soup and was selling it at a restaurant? Or was he just making soup and eating the human bodies with it on his own? There's a lot of crazy things going on. The suit man who just saw 500 victims from cartel. That's crazy, boy.
In the dead of night,
I know he
tossed
got a
the
hit on
remains
his
in there
head.
and carried the container back to the cartel headquarters. This would be the Tijuana cartel's preferred method of dealing with their bodies, and Santiago became their chief cleaner. El Pozolero was in charge of everything: buying oil containers, caustic soda, latex gloves, and gas masks. Everything about this job was simply horrifying, and El Pozolero seemed to be completely desensitized to it. Maybe he was even getting a kick out of it. Now he was working directly under drug lord Teodoro Garcia Cimental, aka El Teo. He would send El Pozolero a text message with a location every time he had a new body that he needed to get rid of. El Pozolero would arrive at the specific location, but it wouldn't be a simple exchange. A cohort of cars would pull up, and he would be called to find out which car the body was in. Then, 2 henchmen would help Pozolero carry the body into his vehicle, and he would drive off to his lab. There he would take care of the body. Sometimes it would be several bodies simultaneously. When he was done, he would take the bone remains and throw them into huge underground pits. By now, El Pozolero had his own graveyard, and business was booming, in the worst sense of the word. But as always, nothing lasts forever. El Teo was a ruthless, violent, and headstrong man. This caused several hiccups between him and the Arellano Felix brothers. In 2008, it all came to a boiling point. El Teo decided to switch sides and join the biggest rival cartel around, El Chapo and El Mayo's Sinaloa. And since El Pozolero was his man, he took him with him. This is how El Pozolero became the Sinaloa cartel's chief body disposer too. This is creepy on so many levels. He was dissolving the bodies of his former colleagues, but he didn't seem to care. El Pozolero made $600 a week. In his time and place, this was excellent money. He could afford almost anything he wanted, and he had achieved a disturbing kind of stardom in the cartel world. But his gruesome work stint with the Sinaloa cartel would come.
For a second, I thought he was talking about he be dissolving bodies for $600 a week. I was about to say that junk crazy, bro.
It was swift in less than a year. In January 2009, Mexican authorities tracked him down after an anonymous tip pointed them in his direction. When the officers barged in, he was stirring something, smelling horrible. He was dead drunk and slurring his words. When the officers asked him about his concoction, he claimed it was seafood soup. You can only imagine what it really was.
Question asked. I got a question. You think seafood soup stink?
After his arrest, however, El Pozolero decided to confess. He told the detectives he had dissolved around 300 bodies, but it's believed the actual number is over 1,000. The case made the headlines throughout Mexico. El Pozolero was pictured as a macabre soup master who had done the cartel's bidding for over a decade. No questions asked. El Pozolero's wife commented to the media.
He would say, "I prefer my job than for my family to die of hunger."
Was there really no alternative to the soup man job? With Santiago in prison, the police went on to discover his gruesome burial site, called the Chicken Coop. 250 kilos, or 500 pounds, of bones and bone remains were extracted by 2017. The
500 pounds of bones.
The chicken coop really was used to raise chickens too. It was a little farm along the free highway to Tecate, and it worked as a perfect mask for the El Pozolero's horrible affairs. But
That's
only
crazy.
70 of El Pozolero's many bodies were dissolved at the chicken coop. 16,500 liters of human matter have been extracted from all.
You heard what he said? 16,500 of human liters have been extracted in the chicken coop. They called it the chicken coop. He put a bunch of chickens on top of the coop and called it the chicken coop.
Wow, it's crazy.
You don't care.
I don't know who you're talking about.
This man dissolved 500 people. El Theo. No, he was under El Theo. Why you smiling at me?
Ain't Theo mean uncle?
El Theo.
Yeah. ain't that
T-E-O.
mean- Ain't that mean uncle in Spanish?
Yeah, they do. But he was the biggest drug lord.
So the uncle.
I guess so. This man killed 500 people and dissolved them in acid, bro. And his job before, y'all heard him, he was getting paid $600 a week. Then went ahead and did that, and now he rich. So you gonna let me do that?
$600 a week.
That's what he was making from his job. But then he left that, and then he started doing the cartels. So you gonna let me do that?
No.
Man, come on, bro.
Over over Tijuana.
He rich
Human
now.
sludge had been poured out from the
I'm trying to be
containers
rich.
in every empty lot and wooded
Not in the
area.
jail.
Imagine all the
What?
remains that
He in the
still
jail
haven't
there, 'cause they
been
do
found.
know
All
about
the
it,
victims
niggas,
that will
huh?
forever remain nameless, thanks to the cartel's gruesome disposal method. What's worse, El Pozolero taught others how to dissolve bodies. He even installed a drainage system during his last years on the job, making the process cleaner and easier for his disciples. He spoke about this with the investigators.
It was the devil to move them. They weighed a lot. After everything was cleaned up, we stored the barrels. We also washed the drain with hot water because the remains stuck to the pipes.
He spoke about it like it was just another job, complaining about all the physical work. When
That's
officers
what it
asked him
sound
if
like.
he had any remorse for what he did, he said of course. He even told the cartel he didn't want to do the job anymore. But you can't really say no to cartel bosses. El Pozolero also insisted that he never killed any of his victims and that he never dissolved the bodies of women and children. In 2012, he was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. During his trial, he said that he was not a dealer, a killer, or a monster. He was just a man doing his job for a cartel that wouldn't take no for an answer. In his last statement, he asked God for forgiveness and apologized to all his victims'
He
families.
did.
But El Pozolero never revealed the location of all the other remains, so the victims' families were not pleased with his apology. They said it can't be genuine if he was not willing to help the police. Furthermore, many of these families were outraged when El Pozolero was released from prison in April 2022. In their opinion, it doesn't matter that he did not kill his victims. He dissolved 1,000 bodies. His sentence should be much harsher than 10 years. But
This
if we
man
consider
got
that
10
El
years.
Pozolero
Hold on,
worked for the
wait.
cartel,
This
he would
man got
probably
10
die if he
years
told the
for
police
dissolving
about the
1,000
burial
bodies.
sites. However, this is not an
But he
excuse
rich.
for all the atrocities he committed under their instruction.
10 years,
He took the
I
job
swear.
in the first place.
That's what they just said.
To this day, the Mexican police are still retrieving bone
And they
remains
still
in the
finding
Tijuana
bones.
area.
Y'all see
it's
this,
hard
bro?
to even imagine the scale of the cartel's wars, the victims, and El Pozolero's body disposal industry. And who knows how many people are still doing what he did in 2009. Was El Pozolero an evil criminal, insensitive to pain and suffering? Or was he a simple person caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, in a web
What
of
happened?
cartel manipulation and intimidation? And if so, could he have ever gotten out were it not for his
No, he under LTO.
arrest? Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe.
Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this video. What you think about the video? Since she got everything to say. What you think about the video?
Crazy.
You got everything else in the book to say, but you can't say what you think about the video? Man, that joint crazy. Like, y'all heard him though. He got 10 years for dissolving 1,000 bodies. So if I do it, I guarantee you, I'm going to do what? Life, right?
Like, you might get the death sentence.
I might get a death sentence, bro, for dissolving 1,000 bodies. This man dissolved 1,000 people, got 10 years. He even admitted to it. So you know he pleaded guilty, bro. But anyways, bro, y'all let me know what y'all think about the video. Y'all go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, run them views up, bro. We've been doing good, bro. What else?
He probably got a plea deal. He probably told on some people. That's the reason he got 10 years.
You think so? He did say that he was like under the cartel thing.
Probably told on some people.
He probably was snitching. He got a plea deal. She a snitch too though. But anyway, yeah, y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. Y'all be safe.
Riding through the city with my M's up. Smoke another nigga, ain't no friends, bro. Rollin' with my clique, want the same thing. Everybody around me on gangbang. Yeah, I'm